Hello all.
Hello everybody.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yes.
Jack and Tom saves the world. And of course I'm Jack.
And I am Tom.
Sorry, everybody, not for that ridiculous thing that I just did. I thought, you know, it's us back sitting on our couches. Why not give some people some funnies? But also, for no episode last week, we had too many things happen at once on one weekend.
Yes.
That just causes your brain sometimes to go, yeah, and give up.
I mean, one of those things obviously was that you got your second dose of Pfizer, so
I did.
You were feeling a bit dog shit
all weekend,
and then we had a lot of commitments over Saturday and Sunday with friends and family that we needed to attend to.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately,
so sickness, poor planning, and parents.
Yeah, so
the reason there was no podcast.
We simply just ran out of time.
Just completely
to get it out
of time. Just like this week, Tom.
Exactly.
Because we're recording on a Sunday, and this episode will probably be out in the next couple of hours.
And it should have been up 3 hours ago.
3 hours ago.
To meet
you know what?
12 o'clock time.
You know what? I'm feeling good.
I am. I'm feeling good too.
I'm feeling good because we've got a new recording setup. We're just recording straight into camera. Means there's no syncage. So I think we're still going to get an episode out on time.
I think so.
Pardon me.
But we will definitely see. We will see. And if you guys are listening to this on, first time on Tuesday or Wednesday, very sorry we fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good way of saying it. Tom, just before we move on, why can I see your whole arms?
I'm wearing a tank top today.
Now, why would you do such a thing?
Because it is a little bit on the warm side today.
We are upstairs, and this house is probably too insulated for its own good.
Yeah.
It traps heat a lot.
I was also wearing a jumper before.
Oh, he was too.
Yeah, so I had
Which is a bit silly on a 25 degree
I did, yeah, so I had to change into something a little bit more appropriate. So, yeah, sorry for the full armage for all of our YouTube
and
viewers. Me. And yeah, not so much sorry for you.
I don't want to have to look at your arms. Your tan lines annoy me.
Shut up. They're fine.
It's all right, mine are pretty bad too.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, yours are horrible. But Jack, with that, should we move on to the news?
We shall. I have some news.
Okay, here we go.
Because this is going to be absolutely hilarious. Did you know that you might have seen this week, Facebook's no longer called Facebook?
Yeah.
So I woke up this one morning and I opened up Facebook because I've got a few. I only use Facebook, not really for communication. Really, I kind of use it for poly posting, just to, voice some political opinions. But then otherwise, Facebook is just kind of, for me, about the groups. You get into some groups with some people that you like with a good, rabble. And that's really all I use Facebook for. So I've got a few groups that I'm in where the majority of everyone is US based. So in the morning, I just kind of check in and see if any good memes have been posted. And I opened it up, and right on the home page, I just saw Meta. And I'm like, okay. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, introducing the metaverse. And I'm like, what is going on? I scrolled down the page, and there's Mr. Zuckerberg alien walking around talking about the metaverse. And I'm like, what? And of course, this is all because Facebook Incorporated has changed its name.
Oh, yeah?
It's now Meta Incorporated.
Right.
And Meta Incorporated owns Facebook, Oculus, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
Yep.
But it's no longer called Facebook.
That's really weird because on my phone it still says Facebook.
Well, no, the service is still called Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's now no longer owned by Facebook, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's still Facebook.
Yeah, but the company is no longer called
The company
Facebook.
is called Meta.
So, like, Mark Zuckerberg is no longer the CEO of Facebook. He's the CEO of Meta.
Yeah.
And this is just so funny.
It is.
Because the goal here was to try and reinvent a little bit, to try and take off all the negative attention that Facebook has rightfully been getting.
Yeah.
We haven't really been covering it, but Facebook is kind of like a dark hole of grossness. Do you think Facebook is the worst of the social media sites?
No.
No? It's not great.
No, it's definitely not great. I don't think I would say it's the worst.
What would you say is the worst?
TikTok.
Really?
I mean, like, I love TikTok. I really do. Some of the stuff on there is funny as fuck.
By worse, I mean the platform that brings in the most asinine shit that's also anonymous.
Facebook's not really that anonymous.
Yeah,
though.
that's why I don't think it's worse. I would definitely put over sites that have an issue with bullying from actual anonymous people, that goes to Twitter and Reddit.
Yeah.
More than Facebook.
Yeah.
And maybe Instagram, because you can be anonymous on Instagram, but it's kind of hard. Well, not hard.
It is more difficult to be like if it's a fake account, then yeah,
you've got to impersonate another impersonate another person, as opposed to on all the other platforms where you can just make up a name and slap a photo on it, and boom, you're a bot on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've decided to just rebrand. I thought it was hilarious and stupid.
So the only thing that's going to happen now is that whatever was happening at Facebook previously is going to continue happening just under the name of Meta.
Yep.
So nothing's really changed apart from the name. The company's still shit. Zucks is still shit.
Yep.
It's just all round crap.
Yep.
So
makes me want to watch The Social Network again.
Yeah, legit. That's the only good thing to come out of Facebook is the Social Network, and that's only about it. So I don't even I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Like, just stick with the name and change some
your company. Actually change the problem.
Yeah,
no, don't do that.
Don't just slap a band-aid over it and go, oh, we're gonna have a new name.
No, the new name is don't you realize that when you change the name, the company changes with it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Such as if I start an app called Toilets Pro, and the app is about picking your favorite toilet, and I rename it Couch Pro, right?
It's about picking your favorite toilet.
But it's still about picking your favorite toilet. This is what Facebook has done.
Yeah, it's not going to make sense. Just on that, I think there is actually an app now that you can find public toilets.
That's helpful.
Yeah. It's called Google Maps.
Is it on Google Maps?
It is. Public toilets are on Google Maps. Just if you ever want to find a public toilet, just search up public toilet near me on Google Maps, and you can
I actually never knew that.
You can find any public toilet. Anyone.
Speaking of public toilets, Tom, do you have any news stories?
I do. And speaking about public toilets, it's a political one.
Oh, here we go.
From me this week. I do have to read it off my phone because I literally just found it, but I did think it was funny. A senior MP in Victoria has had to resign.
Oh, I saw this.
Over drink driving, not allegations. Drink driving
it's just
activities.
Continuing to bolster my opinion of politicians.
Yeah. So this is to do with the Shadow Attorney General, Tim Smith.
Huh.
Yeah, the Shadow Attorney General in Victoria.
Yeah.
He was caught. Well, he's caught driving over the legal limit, and he has now had to resign from his position.
Well, that was dumb.
It was dumb, but I think drink driving is really dumb. What's even dumber is being a politician. like you're already, if if you want to be in the public eye and be shit, like start a podcast.
I agree, and after all week of being proven right about Gladys Berejiklian, vindication on me.
On your behalf, yeah. I felt that as well. It was nice.
It's politicians.
They're just a special breed of stupid.
They are. They always feel like they can get away with shit, or I don't like them. I think that's all I can manage to say.
Yeah, exactly.
With all that disdain that's in my head, I'm just like meh.
But then with the whole politician thing as well, because you and I were watching Gogglebox the other night.
Oh yeah. And
they had what was the show that they were watching? It was a political show.
It was a political show. It was it was on the ABC.
Yeah.
Is it called The Big Deal?
I think it was The Big Deal, and it was all about they were pretty much just going through like around election time and like looking at both Liberal and Labor's income and what it's actually made up of.
Yep.
And it was striking to see, like, it's Gogglebox, so we're not expecting high things from them.
No, but it was striking to see from people on Gogglebox how much they don't understand about politics.
Yeah. Like how much, like, people, they're literally sitting there and they explain that the Liberal Party gets a large amount of money.
$168 million.
$168 million a year from
donors.
From donors. And normally they're big companies.
And Labor's sitting, just for everyone at home, Labor's sitting at about a 134 million donor base.
So but then the thing is, like, they're getting them from, Big Pharma was one of the big ones. Mm-hmm. And there's so many, I can't remember all the other donors' names and corporations that they said, but
and they probably didn't even go into how some corporations probably donate to both.
Yeah.
To make sure that whoever's in power, they always have a foot in the door with MPs.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be Big Pharma, Big Oil, Big Tobacco. All those would probably donate to both parties to make sure that they have a foot in the door. So, like if Labor does get elected, in the next election, and you have a majority Labor seat, a majority Labor House, Big Tobacco is definitely going to be donating to Labor to make sure that if any anti-smoking legislation gets brought up on the House, that Big Tobacco can go, hey, no, we gave you $2.5 million. Can we not?
Yeah. And
I don't know. You're getting more into just being a bit more socially aware about politics.
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume that you're jumping right in the deep end and you care wholeheartedly about.
No, definitely not.
But you're becoming more socially aware of how politics works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was
so that you're not an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was interesting for me to see as well. But then I did make a comment that kind of threw you a little bit. Was that because they explained like how like the donor base and how much money is being donated from these big companies, and they were listing off all of them, Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, and Big Oil and stuff like that, and everyone on Gogglebox was like, oh well, we didn't know this, like what the hell. And I just, in passing, just turned to Jack and I was like, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how many of those companies will donate to you when you're trying to get tax breaks for them. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just you were a bit taken aback because obviously I've been very outward with you to say I don't give a shit about politics. Mm-hmm. And politics is not something that I 100% understand, all the time. Like, you rattle stuff off all the time about politics and I'm like, yeah, cool, ScoMo bad. But no,
that's a good takeaway.
Yeah, I mean,
that means I'm doing my job correctly. As long as you're getting ScoMo bad,
Gladys corrupt.
My job's done.
John Barilaro, dickhead.
Yes.
But I didn't need politics for that. I just
Dominic Perrottet, comb-over bad.
Catholic comb-over bad.
Or is it a toupee? His hair looks bad. Whatever it is.
Horrid. It's horrible.
Either one of the two. Or maybe just plugs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But you were taken aback by that comment because you didn't really think that I understood politics at all.
But in the same discussion of all of that was going on the Big Deal, they also brought up how lobbyists will donate $1 million to a party of their choosing, and then they will basically be prioritized for workers' contracts.
Yeah.
So that then the federal government will pay said company $100 million to hire workers, subsidized working.
Yeah.
And you went, when they were explaining that they can put in $1 million investment as a donation, which, by the way, they also get a tax break on when you donate to a political party. That's counted as a donation like it is to charity.
Yeah.
So they get a tax break on that initial $10 donation. Then, of course, if it's a federal funded thing, that's not income, so that's not taxed. And then if you structure your company in a nice little corrupt way, you can run off with a solid chunk of your worker contract. It's supposed to go to helping employ people.
Yeah.
Because the company can either cry poverty or cry... I think you might remember a couple of years ago that Hungry Jack's got a $130 million worker contract.
Yeah.
And that they did that so that... And they basically said, we're doing that so that we can help all these unemployed people get jobs.
Yeah.
And then it basically came out, not even that long after that was announced, that Hungry Jack's was actually only paying these people $10 an hour as stipulated by the worker contract, for the worker contract.
Exactly.
So Hungry Jack's was running away with a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's basically how the whole system works. And it was really interesting, again, bringing back to the Gogglebox thing, to see how, and I do say this, I'm abnormal, so it was interesting to see how sometimes how oblivious normal Australians are to our political system.
And I think it's a good takeaway, though. Like, a lot of people, don't realise how bad some of it is. And they don't realise how much background work actually goes into, forming a political party and running it, and, running for office and stuff like that. And, I still don't understand all of that. But I think it's just really strange, because they were making points as well, like when they were talking about the workers' contracts and that you can donate $1 million and get $100 million back for a contract. And everyone goes, well, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. But someone also made a comment and said, it's not, the thing is, the federal government has made it so it's not illegal. It's not illegal, it's just shitty. But it's completely legal to do it. And I think that's the thing, it's not, I don't think politics is not about the policies anymore. It's about the highest bidder. And who donates the most. And, you can run it because this is what happens every election, though. They come out with promises, all these promises of, we're going to have tax breaks for low income families, and, we're going to, do all this shit with Medicare and all of this other bullshit. And then they get into office, nothing happens.
Well, no.
They just go on doing the same old thing. It's the same with Australian politics. It's the same with US politics.
And it's good that you're aware of that, because not a lot of people are. As most political campaigns, when you get around to that time, all the talking points between people are those policy promises.
Yeah.
It was like how Tony Abbott's always returning one was reduce the government deficit.
Yeah.
Which he did by cutting back public spending.
Yeah.
So shaved $600 million out of public education.
Yeah.
So that he could get his budget back in the... It doesn't matter. We're at $1 trillion debt, so his plan didn't work.
Yeah.
And then the other one was stop the boats, which is, of course, what was rattled around by Liberal voters a lot. So stop the boats.
I think that's the thing, though. It makes it... Politicians make it incredibly difficult for the average Australian who doesn't have all of this political knowledge to act when it gets around to elections to make a decision.
Well, no, that's the point. They don't want you to make a decision. They want you to pick the talking point that you most agree with personally and go, okay, I like that idea, I'll vote for you, instead of either looking into actual policies, or if you followed a MP or a political party for a while, you just instinctively know.
Yeah.
I know that while Labour is the lesser of two evils, because we live in a two-party state, it's going to be... I will be shooketh if the Greens ever make it to majority leadership, and it would be hell would freeze over before we had an independent House of Representatives, which is of course what I want.
Yeah.
I want every member of the House to be independent. But hell's going to freeze over before that happens. But I will always vote Labour because I do believe that while, yes, they are heavily donated to by the private sector, there will always be things that Labour won't move on, like cigarettes, reducing alcohol tax, reducing any taxes if Labour likes to raise taxes, which pisses a lot of people off. But it's probably better for the country anyway, but I don't want to get into that. But I will always vote Labour, and I hope when we get to the next election, there will be a good amount of knowledge now on your side that you can make an informed decision, as can everybody.
Yeah.
Let's all make an informed decision and save this country.
Well,
that's Jack's PSA.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about me with elections and stuff is like because obviously, you know, we have federal elections and then we have state and local elections.
We have a state and federal election next year.
Yeah.
For us, we have 2.
So there was always one person, like one member in my local electorate when I lived with my parents that I would always vote for because I've followed him for quite some time.
Did you know him outside of politics?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So you're kind of like friendly friends.
No.
No.
Sorry. So I knew him outside of politics, but so when I say I knew him outside of politics, it was outside of just random. No, the campaigns.
Sure. Okay.
Voting and stuff
I'm
like
with
that.
you now.
Yeah, because he was the member for our the local member for our electorate. So then every, school assembly or stuff like that, he would come to that.
Oh, okay.
So, so I would discuss stuff with him and chat with him and stuff like that. He's actually Tony Zappi is a pretty good guy.
Okay.
I've
met him too.
Yeah, and I would always vote for him.
Yep.
Because he was, in my opinion, for our local electorate, he was the best. He was the best member. Mm-hmm. He was the best person that we could have, and he held that seat for quite a few years.
How long has he held it for? He's a long one. He's actually been pretty good at fighting everyone off. And in the last state election, his main opponent was Nick Xenophon.
Yeah.
And even though Nick actually got a surprising amount of support because of he was a senator. Then he had his little federal bid, which actually turned out pretty solid. For a startup.
Yeah.
But then when he was running for state, he actually got a large turnout of support in Sturt and your electorate, which I've forgotten the name of. But we currently live in Sturt.
Yeah.
But he still held on to that.
I think I was in Macon. I think it was Macon. Before they changed, because they've changed all the electorates around now.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah,
anyway.
We'll have a look at it. It doesn't really matter, but I think from that standpoint, that's what I would always go with, and that was my informed decision. So, I think this state and federal election that we've got coming up is, I will be a lot more well informed than what I was for the last election.
And you are welcome to join me because I've already registered for Labour notifications for both state and federal. So when they pick their member for Sturt, you're welcome to, if you want to, come along and because I always do.
Yeah.
Meet whatever member Labour puts forward because again, Labour is not perfect. So I want to know the MP that I am voting for my electorate. Exactly. It's just usually I will just go Labour because then that benefits the country as a whole. Yeah. Because I think Labour is better for the country.
Yeah.
Fight me.
And I think the best thing for the country is a curry.
Oh, a curry for the country. A curry for the country. That's great. I'm going to type a protest to that. I love Indian food. It's my favourite food. Michaela Cash, you suck.
Yeah, so she's the attorney.
She's the attorney
general and the minister for industrial relations.
Oh, she is also the minister for the. Oh, they moved her to industrial relations.
She's also a bit of a dickhead.
She is a special breed. Moving right along, Thomas.
Yes.
You've brought me a topic.
I have. Just break for 1 sec.
Oh, okay.
Because I just need to
I'll
look
do
up.
that again then.
Yeah, sorry. I just need to look up some examples. Okay, cool. Yep, no problems. Okay, do you want to do that? Lead in again.
So moving right along,
Yes.
you've brought me a topic.
I have brought you a topic. It's a little bit of a wacky topic this week.
Wacky.
Yeah, it was something that it's something that I was thinking about, and I think I saw it on Facebook or something that it came up, and I wanted to have a discussion about it because so effectively what we'll be talking about today is the Mandela Effect, which essentially is a large group of people misremembering certain things that happened.
Yes.
And the way it got its name was because a lot of people remember that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s.
He did not.
He didn't. He actually died. I think it was
2013.
2013.
He actually lived quite long.
Yeah. So he died in 2013, but everyone remembers him passing away.
Well, not everyone.
Well, a large group. A large amount of people remember him passing away in the 1980s.
So now we have the Mandela Effect.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like things that you remember some things and then you see something afterwards or someone brings it to your attention and you're like, no, that's how it's always been. Like, but it's actually people
But it's a lot of people doing that same thing and having that same feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
That you've either been lied to, misdirected. It's kind of like a form of little gaslighting. It's a weird phenomenon.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go through a couple of these now because I've got some examples here.
Okay.
The first one, I don't know whether this is a show that either of us have seen. But it was a show that everyone remembers as the Bernstein Bears. I think it was an American show, but a lot of people remember it being Stein. And it's actually the Bernstein Bears.
Interesting.
So Stain.
I think I saw one on Twitter because Space Jam had come out and a bunch of people... That was a Mandela Effect. It's because it's not Looney Tunes.
No.
It's Looney Tunes with a U.
Tunes.
Like a song. It's a Looney Tune, not a Looney Tune.
Yeah. Well, that was the one that tripped me out, because I always thought it was Looney Tunes.
So it didn't trip me out, because I'd seen Looney Tunes. I watched Looney Tunes back in action on repeat. Wasn't a Space Jam kid. But I was a back in action kid.
It is ultimately better, though.
Well, it's a terrible movie, but it's fun.
No, but Back in Action is better than Space Jam.
Oh, yeah. In that respect, yes.
Yes.
So I would watch that on repeat. So how Looney Tunes was spelt, even though I have the problem with the brain.
Yeah.
That makes spelling hard. I've always remembered that. That's how that's what it's called.
But this is the thing.
But seeing everyone go, hang on, isn't it bloody...
Tons?
Isn't it tunes?
Yeah.
Like... cartoon?
Because I think what trips people out is that you've got Looney Tunes, which sounds wrong, but then you've got movies like, especially Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when they go to Toontown.
Well, and even in Space Jam, they're called Toons.
Yeah.
With a double O, cartoons.
And that's the same thing they're called in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Still the only film, by the way, a little film fact for your audience. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the only film to ever contain both Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same scene ever.
Yeah.
They have never
done it again.
Appeared on screen together before or since.
And that's awesome.
So that's why
we only watched it a little while ago.
We watched it a little while ago, but like whenever you watch it and you remember that, it's
amazing.
It's weird that because it was made by Disney. Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
But it just shows you how much Warner Brothers and Disney hate each other. But back to the Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
After that little nugget of information.
I think this one may cause a little bit of disruption in the Force.
Yeah, do it.
It's not Star Wars related. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, so this one's about the Monopoly Man, or Rich Uncle Pennybags, as what his actual name is.
That's almost as good.
As Sir Topham Hatt.
Sir Topham Hatt. And Lady Hat.
Lady Hat. But this one, I don't know if you knew, but this one tripped me out when I read it.
Okay.
Was that everyone believes that he was dressed in a top hat and monocle.
No, he doesn't have a monocle.
But people think that.
Really?
People actually remember him having a monocle.
Isn't that Mr. Peanut?
It could be.
He has a top hat and a monocle.
But this is Rich Uncle Pennybags that they're talking about.
He doesn't have a monocle. Why would people think that?
But that's what this does.
That's so cool and weird.
This is what the Mandela Effect does. Is that a large group of people remember something that wasn't actually there. It's weird.
That is weird, because I don't think anywhere on a Monopoly board does he have a monocle, like, ever. That's a really strange one. You mentioned Star Wars. There is one with Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember.
Because it's always misquoted.
Yeah.
Which is, Luke, I am your father. Is never said in the film.
No. It says, no, I am your father.
No, I am your father. That's the actual quote. And I learned that one. It's always misquoted, first of all. But then, so I think I just quoted it once and someone corrected me. And that was like, interesting. Misquoted ones, I think. Quoted films, I think, are the most common Mandela effects, because the quote's misquoted and then it's just repeated over and over and over again. So that's what you end up believing the quote is.
Yep.
Do you have any others?
I do. What is it? Yeah, Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
This is one. Do you know about this one?
No.
So this is about.
I know of Mother Teresa though.
So it's about a canonization. So to become a saint.
A saint.
Yep. A lot of people recall that happening in the 1990s.
No.
2016.
Yeah, she wasn't a saint until after she died. I didn't know it was that late.
Yeah, it was 2016 by Pope Francis.
Ah.
Was where she...
Well, she died before I was born.
Yeah, she did.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
2016.
It's happening to me. I swear, when I was younger, my mum would tell me about when I was born, because Princess Diana had also died, that Mother Teresa had died and that she had been made a saint after she died.
Yeah.
And can't be true.
Yeah. Okay, I still have a couple more.
Okay, go.
This, I've actually never heard about this one, but now I'm starting to think that maybe it is a bit strange. People were talking about Cinderella's castle at Disneyland, at the Disneyland parks.
Which one?
Any of them.
Okay.
Because the Cinderella castle is at every Disneyland?
Disneyland, Disney World, Paris, Hong Kong, China. Yes.
Yeah. So people are actually remembering, well, thinking they remember.
This is going to be interesting because I've been there.
That Cinderella's castle,
yes,
was the entrance to Disneyland.
No.
But that's not the case, because
that one's. Is that people that have been to Disneyland?
People that have been to Disneyland
or Disney World?
Disneyland.
Okay.
Because the castle has been in the exact same position
since the park opened.
Since it opened.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's up Main Street.
So yeah, you've got the entrance to Disneyland, and then you have to walk all the way down Main Street, and it's at the end of Main Street. That's Disneyland. It's different in Disney World because Cinderella's castle is in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So you have the entrance to Magic Kingdom, but it's laid out a little differently. And the one that's in Disney World is, I think, the most recognizable one.
Oh, no, sorry. It's saying the castle served as the main entrance to the Magic Kingdom.
I haven't been to Disney World.
No. But people are saying... Because it hasn't been. It's never been.
Wait, so... hang on. People think it's the entrance to the Magic Kingdom?
Yes.
Or the park?
The Magic Kingdom.
Right. In Disney World, pretty sure it isn't.
No. This is talking about Disneyland, though.
Well, there isn't separate kingdoms in...
Oh, well, this is just what this says.
It must be Disney World, because that's where the Magic Kingdom is.
Yeah.
Well, that one's weird.
Another one weird was the one about the Challenger space shuttle. So
blew up.
Challenger disaster, yeah, it blew up.
Yeah.
People are... There's lots of people remembering that it happened in either 83, 84, or 85.
Okay. I thought it was later.
Which one? When do you think it was?
Challenger. We've seen the footage. I would put it in the 80s.
Yeah.
I just don't know when.
So it was January 28th, 86.
Oh.
But a lot of people remember it happening up to 3 years
earlier. That one's weird. This must have... I'm going to get weird. This must have something to do with, like, how your brain develops when you're a kid and how your brain retains information. That must be what this is.
Yeah.
And it's freaky.
Okay, last one. Because this is one that I've always heard, but then it was said to me that it wasn't, and I was like, what the hell? We Are the Champions.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers...
This one, this happened... I saw this one on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know what kicked it off, though.
Everyone remembering that it ends with We Are the Champions of the World.
Yeah, no, it never happens.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And
Do you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because I said it on Twitter. I think... because that is said, We Are the Champions of the World, but it's the chorus. It's not the end of the song. I think it's because it's been used in situations where the chorus is the end of the song.
Yeah.
Wherever it's been used. I think even in Bohemian Rhapsody, when they did the short version for Live Aid...
Yeah.
I think that is how the band ended We Are the Champions. But the actual song,
doesn't.
If you go and listen to it anywhere, doesn't have that at the end. That's not the end of the song.
Yeah. But though, I mean, and because we've gone through the examples now.
Yeah.
It's super strange.
It is.
It's super strange to think that there are large amounts of people out there remembering things that just have not happened. Or thinking that they've happened. And I don't know if it's something to do with, one person says,
You're all right. You're swallowing a lot.
No, I think I've got hiccups or something like that. I'm just trying to, swallow them down. I've been talking a lot, so my mouth is very dry.
It's very dry. Oh, no.
And now we've been cancelled.
I pray for anyone that listens to this with headphones.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So sorry for anyone that has to listen to this.
Anyway.
But yeah, I don't know whether it's one person missees something or misremembers something and then it just spreads like wildfire. Or whether it's just a whole group of people that are just not seeing it. Because
I think that's why it's freaky, is because... Yeah, it's a lot of people misremembering.
Oh, fuck, now I can't say it. Misremembering. You're swallowing a lot. You okay?
No. Yeah,
misremembering.
They don't remember it correctly.
Yeah, they misremember it.
Yeah. It is. It's weird. And that was a good little trip down. I knew that one, but also it is weird that people forgot it.
Yeah.
So... Thank you.
That's all right. I think I found it really interesting. I've watched hours of these sorts of videos and found out shit that I never knew. Like, I always thought that Rich Uncle Pennybags had a monocle.
Did you actually?
I always thought that. Always.
But
I don't know why. It's just in my memory.
But you've now gone and looked.
I've now
at
gone
a
and
Monopoly box.
Yeah, it's not there.
He does not have a monocle.
It's not there. And the Looney Tunes thing. I also thought it was Tunes.
That one's fair.
That is fair because
That one's fair.
That's how it's said.
It's said
not Looney Tunes. It's Looney Tunes.
It's Looney Tunes, like an American. How an American says
Looney
tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Not Looney Tunes.
Well, we're Australian, so we overpronounce the U.
Looney Tunes.
Tunes.
Yeah.
Instead of tunes.
But that's the thing. Like, it's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
But that one's justified.
Yeah.
Speaking of justified.
Next week, we'll be talking about the butterfly effect.
I'm going to go step on a butterfly. Maybe dinosaurs will come back.
Shit.
And they have
Yeah, we made them too big last
dinosaur arms. Moving right along, Thomas.
Yes, moving on, because we're going to go into our review section.
Yes. We're going to make this one quickish, though, so don't expect too much in-depth conversation straight up.
I mean,
I'm forewarning you.
There is 3 seasons of this show to go through, so...
Forewarning you. So Tom, being the... well, he doesn't read, but he also takes a really long time to watch things sometimes.
I watched it in, like, a week.
Unless I take him to the movies, he won't see a movie for, like, at least a year.
That is not always true. Not always true.
That's very true.
No, not always.
Oh, no, true. He didn't see Invisible Man for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I showed it to him.
I was the one that wanted to go and see Black Widow.
I wanted to see Black Widow.
I know you wanted to see it, but I was the one that was like, hey, you want to go see Black Widow?
But yeah, but what I'm saying is if you don't go and see a film in cinemas...
Yeah, if I don't see it in cinemas, I probably won't see it for another couple of months.
And it's not bought by me, or it's not shown on television, or if it's not on Netflix, you probably won't watch it until someone brings it up and you get that inclination to watch it. They don't stick in your memory. Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
No.
Kind of like how you can finally watch Shang-Chi because it'll be out on Disney Plus in 2 weeks.
Yes. So keen.
But despite this TV show starting in 2019,
yeah,
having its 3rd season premiere late this year, it's 10 months late.
Shit, yeah.
He's finally watched Sex Education.
Yes, I have.
And that was what that whole thing was about.
Yeah, we've spent 3 of our precious minutes going over that. Now, I don't watch movies.
As I was attacking you, I didn't watch Sex Education until season 2 came out.
Oh, wow.
Here
we go.
So it took me a year to watch season 1.
Yeah.
Because there was hype around the first season.
Yeah. There's been a hype around every season, though. I think my main problem is just I watch a lot of TV shows. Like, I've got quite a few TV shows to watch.
Yes.
And I don't always have time with, between work and other commitments.
Yes.
To actually sit down and finish them. So, like, it took me 3 months to do 6 seasons of The Blacklist.
And then he finally gave up.
And then I gave up because season 7 is a piece of shit and I'm not going to watch it.
And as another little Easter egg, I predicted that would happen. I knew in my heart of heart. It's because it's when I gave up. That's why I knew. And we are actually quite similar in entertainment value.
But you did say a lot that I wasn't going to watch season 7. So maybe that's stuck in my head and I'm just not watching it because you told me it was bad. Kind of like...
Oh, that would also be...
Kind of like you hating the Titanic because your mum hates the last hour.
That is true. Massively coloured my opinion of that film.
And this has coloured my opinion, I believe. But anyway, Sex Education.
Sex Education.
Let's talk about
Started in 2019. Stars Asa Butterfield, Gillian Anderson, and Margot Robbie. It does not. Her name is Emma, and she just looks like Margot Robbie.
She looks a lot. She looks too much like
Margot Robbie. It's weird. Yeah. Sex Education is a British coming-of-age drama comedy.
Yep.
Set in a little town of Moordale.
Love it.
And is about a sexually inexperienced boy.
Otis.
Who shall be called Care Bear Man.
Care Bear Man.
who, through learning that his school is woefully undertaught about sex, and his mum being a sex therapist, takes it on himself with a girl named Maeve Wiley to basically start a sex therapy club at school and get paid to help the other students.
Yeah.
Season 1 basically just follows that formula pretty, not bare bones, but to that whole goal.
Yep.
Of that's what it is, and doing that, introducing all of the main characters. I don't actually think there are any characters in season 1 that disappear.
No.
No main characters, not even side characters that disappear, except for one. A relationship to Maeve does leave.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
It's good that he's gone though.
Fair enough.
Piece of shit.
And then we got to season 2, which is when I jumped in, because then everyone was talking about season 2. So I'm like, okay, what is this sex education? And I watched season 1 and I went, yeah, that's good. I like this. This covers good topics, although I don't think it's appropriate for anyone under the age of 16.
Yeah.
This is a bit too much drugs.
Not yet drugs.
And sex is a bit graphic.
Yeah. 14 and up.
Anyway, so then everyone was talking about season 2. So I jumped in. I watched all of season 1. I said it's good. It's really well acted. It's really well written. It covers these topics like they should be. It's not sugar-coated.
Yeah.
They cast relatively age-appropriate actors and actresses. It was good. It's got good music. It's shot well. And it's got Eric.
Wash your hands, you dirty pig.
Which is how season 2 started. So then I went, okay, season 2 time. I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I touch myself. Oh, I was in.
Yep.
And it was season 2 where I realized how great this show is.
Yep.
And what its power. Because season 2 has some amazingness in it. This is where some characters get much needed development that they didn't really get in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is where there's a lot more drama between the main characters. This is where we get into mental health, which is only partially covered in season 1.
Yep.
Season 2 is great.
Yeah.
And then we move on to season 3. And we'll get Tom's opinion in a second. Season 3 is also great.
Is that all you have to say about that?
Yeah, but
because I have quite a bit to say about season 3.
Fuck Hope.
Yeah, Hope's a bitch.
Anyway.
No.
That's done. And also we are going to try and sustain? Abstain from spoilers for season 3. If season 1 and 2 are spoiled for you, well, bad luck. They've been out for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, look, season 3 for me. Okay, I've watched it really recently. I don't trust myself not to give spoilers. So if you haven't seen season 3, maybe turn off.
Okay.
Because I just may not be able to help myself. Okay, so I agree with you with season 1 and 2. Season 1 and 2 were great. From the first 20 minutes of episode 1 in season 1, I was hooked.
Oh, were you? Okay, that's good.
It was a very, very quick hook for me. Because I think the hype was there and I was like, oh, look, let's just give it a crack. Like, you've watched it, Abby's watched it, and I just went, bugger it, let's just watch it. And I watched it and I finished all 3 seasons within a week.
Yep, you did.
I just absolutely binged it. I think it was more like 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
Because the show is just so good. It talks about topics that need to be talked about more. And it shows it pretty much shows children versing adults with a little bit of integration in the middle.
Yes.
And I think that's really good. I think there are some characters, like obviously, Otis's mum, Jean Milburn, the sex therapist. Awesome. Gillian Anderson always does a great performance. Does it with Jean, she does it with Maggie Thatcher.
And that's
in The Crown.
Only 2.
It's the only 2 things I know her from. But
he hasn't even watched bloody X-Files.
No. But there's season 3 definitely showed a lot of development for a lot of characters that needed it. Obviously, we've got like Adam's development, which I won't go through.
Thank God.
We've got Adam's development and that whole thingamabob that if you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The one that really stood out for me that I really liked was Ruby's development. And I think
Oh, there we go.
there was a different side of her, because we've seen her in the first 2 seasons.
And she's Ruby.
And she's a bitch. Like, she's not even a bitch. She's Ruby. She's just Ruby. And season 3 rolls around and you get a bit more into, what makes her tick. What the reasons are for the way that she is. And you see her at school, and then you see her at home. You see her outside, and you see her just with Otis as well. And it's completely different. And it's something that I really wanted to see because, look, given that when things break down there, she goes back to being Ruby. She's still a bit she's still a good character, and I like having her in the show, but she just goes back to being a bit of a bitch.
Hey, she saves the day during the thing.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. And I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the whole backflipping and stuff.
It's what's safe for Ruby.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's her defense mechanism.
But for me, that's if you develop a character, then you kind of backpedal that development a bit. It's not the best.
I disagree because in, say, Friends, for example...
I don't care for Friends.
But I'm going to use it as an example.
No, but I just don't care for it. I just want everyone to know I don't care for it.
Chandler is sarcastic and funny in the show.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets with Monica, their relationship, he becomes less like that.
Yeah.
But he is still sarcastic and funny to everyone else.
Yeah.
And Monica throughout the show. And I don't think that undoes the character development that they gave him when he gets with Monica. No. I would also say that there's character development in shows like How I Met Your Mother or... Good point. I retract it.
Apart from...
I'm just saying...
apart from Barney's development, where? Because Ted's still a piece of shit.
You know now, and I have my own assumptions for how many more seasons of Sex Education there are going to be.
A single one.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption, though. I think they polished off season 3 in a nice way.
Yes.
And... they left us wanting more.
Yes.
And I think I honestly think that season 4 should be the last season.
Yes, because they'll all graduate as well.
It's going to be sad, but it is what it is.
They will all graduate as well.
Yeah.
So you can either hold on hope that they can keep that, because that character development isn't undone.
No.
It's just in their back pocket. Because the writers were serving an overarching story which they've trying to build to naturally in shortest amount of time that they can. 3 seasons of television.
It's only 8 episodes, though.
True, but that's 3 years.
Yeah.
Of attempting to make a particular relationship happen naturally and feel natural. Because that's the other thing about this show. They all act like teenagers.
Yeah.
This show feels too accurate at times.
Yeah.
There are some things that are a bit ridiculous, and it might just be a I'm gonna sneeze.
God, that clipped.
It did.
Sorry, everybody.
It might just be a British school thing. I know at my school, people weren't fucking this often.
Yeah, I can't say the same for my school.
They weren't having this much sex. There was sex, but it wasn't, fucking at school like some people.
But it's different. Like when you think
Sorry, I am gonna have to change that. There was stuff going on at my school, but not as much as Sex Education makes you believe.
But when you think about when we went to school, like both of us graduating back in 2015.
Yes.
And, we started year 6 in, 2009 and stuff, and you would have gone to high school, because I was at high school from year 6, but you would have been at high school from year 8.
No, I left public school and I went to middle school for year 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I went... no, sorry. I moved primary school and finished 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And then went to middle school for 7, 8, 9, and then went to a different high school.
But like, if you think back 12 years ago to 2009...
Yes.
And think about then how much you knew about sex. And how much you knew about all of that stuff. And then look at...
I was 12.
Yeah, I know you were 12. But have a think, because you see that, because this is the thing. We had access to the internet, but Facebook was really just coming out as a big thing.
Yep.
Around about that time.
Yep.
And, we didn't have all of these other social media networks and stuff. We still had MySpace. And stuff, but it wasn't overwhelmingly saturated with sex or anything like that.
True.
Think about it now, and
True.
think about what 12-year-old you know this for a fact. Think about what 12-year-olds know now. Mm-hmm. Some 12-year-olds know more than some 40-year-olds.
Yep. That is actually
about sex.
Probably.
So it's a completely different time, and this is the thing is with sex education is that it's set in the present day.
Oh, here we go.
But everyone looks like it's from the 80s.
90s. It's
80s.
No, all the cars are from the 90s. I looked it up.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't look
They're
like
all
90s
90s.
cars.
They are all, well, maybe designed in the 80s, but they were all the models that
The
are on
clothes are from the 80s, though.
and 90s.
And a lot of the music is from the 80s.
Yeah, that is true. Well, there's lots of 50s and 60s
And the
in there.
buildings. Like, even the buildings look like they're from the 80s.
Okay, the buildings... Can't avoid, because it's Britain.
Exactly.
That's what Britain looks like.
It's stuck in 1980.
Country England looks exactly like that. But the cars, no. But it's the only thing that annoys me about the show.
It doesn't annoy me.
That's good. That's good. I hate that it annoys it annoys me.
I actually find it to be a really nice...
Yeah.
Like... Because you're not looking at it going, oh, this is 2019 or 2020.
No, but
they're talking like it is.
But I feel like in a lot of the ways that characters interact, there's still a lot of landlines. There's a lot of those, 80s and 90s era cars. The buses look old. There's no, all the computers at school are really shit.
But...
Everyone...
My question...
Hang on. I'm explaining to you why it annoys me.
I know why it annoys you.
So, it's like they really, really want it to be set in the 80s and 90s. Even going so far as to make sure that all of the cars seem... they take all of the cars from the area where they shoot that are kind of period applicable. But then they realise that while that is interesting, they don't want to make a period coming of age story.
Yeah.
Because if you want a period how is the 80s a period?
It was a period in time.
If you want a coming of age story from the 80s, you go watch all of the coming of age movies they made in the 80s. So it's almost like, well, we want the kids to communicate like kids do in the modern days, so they all have smartphones.
Yeah.
But all the TVs are really retro. But then there's a MacBook. Jean's house looks like it was pulled from 1910, especially with the decor. It's just the only thing that annoys me is they put so much effort into the production design, but it feels like then the writers are like, well, no, we can't write these characters the way that we want them to without them always being able to message each other on a phone.
So... Okay.
And there are things in the show that couldn't happen and the drama wouldn't escalate the way that it does if phones were not a thing in the story.
But my
But
my question to you is if they'd gone, we're going to write these characters in present day.
Yep.
And we're going to do the set design and the costume design and everything in the present day.
Yep.
Would it work as well as it does? Like, would it be as good of a show to watch if they were just in normal clothing and normal cars and normal buildings and shit like that? Because the way that I see it, I don't think it would work as well.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because a film that we both really like is World's End.
Yeah.
Which was directed by Edgar Wright, stars Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah.
That was shot in a very similar part of England,
Yeah.
and retains all of that old school Englandness, but mixes it with sci-fi, and it works really well. So I think if they'd shot it in the same location, all that stuff would have been the same. But this is just my annoyance. So I don't think, just because it's me personally, if there was modern cars driving around, or more modern cars driving around, and everyone kind of... we don't need to really age up the clothes. The clothes actually all look really good. The costumes I don't have a problem with, because there's modern clothes, there's old school clothes. It's not a problem. It's just... I don't think it would lose anything for me personally if the writing team and the production designers were on the same page. I actually feel like it would make the show more enjoyable just for me.
Yeah.
But obviously the production designers and the showrunners want the show to look a certain way, but the writers are stuck behind the trying to make it relatable to modern teenagers and make all the drama work with cell phones.
Do you think it was meant... Do you think they're meaning for it to be set in the 80s, or do you reckon that if the writer... do you reckon the writers have just gone, this is how we're going to write the characters, and the production designer's gone, okay, this is how we want it to look? And I don't think there's discrepancies. Well, no, I don't think there's discrepancies between them.
No, well, first of all, as I said before I started that, England looks that way.
Yeah, I know. It always... So why not play into that a little bit and have a bit of a hybrid, like an 80s present day hybrid?
Well, they have, and
of a show.
It just annoys me personally, so that's fine. Yeah. It is my completely subjective, not based in anything really that grounded. It's just one of those little things that annoys me in my brain.
Yeah. That's
all. It's the only thing that annoys me about the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we get down... Because obviously we rate everything. Because it's great. Look, I'm going to give this show a 9 out of 10.
This show's a 10 out of 10.
Cool.
So there you go. We got my opinions.
Got our opinions.
Got your opinions.
And with that, that's all we have time for today.
What about the onions? Wait, what's this music?
What?
Where's it coming from?
This happens every week.
Every week!
Why does it do this?
I don't know, Tom. Maybe it's done on purpose. Do we have any questions?
No, we don't.
Oh,
we don't have a... I'm going to put another poll up on Facebook.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, ask me a question then. Over the music, and I'll try to hear you.
Why are you gay?
And yeah, that's all we have time for, everybody. Look, thank you for joining us again on another fun-filled episode.
Fun-filled, yes,
and very, very good episode.
I enjoyed talking to you about this stuff, Tom.
Yeah, me too.
No, that's good.
I enjoy it every week, but it's
no,
good.
You don't.
No, I don't. Some weeks it's fucking shit, but this week was good. So
maybe someday we'll air the unairable. There's a little. Take some snippets out of it and air it.
Sure. We'll just... Yeah, that's what we'll do on our 100th episode. We'll go back through all the bloopers.
And all you hear is Tom swearing about how he didn't like the episode. Anyway, it's been good to have you guys here. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
And a good week.
Because this is the first time that we're recording an episode on the same day that it's being published. So...
Alright, well, apart from that, have a great week, and we guys will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.